Hey Rockstar, Steve aka Void here, and I help guitar players learn songs faster on guitar. Now today we're going to be talking about the perfect palm mute, how to get the perfect palm mute every single time. And before I forget, make sure to add your name to Play From Day One waiting list if you want to work with me personally and get faster results in your guitar playing where you could learn the songs that you love and I give you a custom experience where you can learn them faster and then on demand. Alright, so palm muting is something that is a little bit, I think, misunderstood in my experience with coaching guitar players because palm muting, if you haven't heard of it, palm muting is something that creates texture in your guitar playing and is kind of like a different gear that your guitar playing goes into. Or I should say a filter. It's more of like a filter that is over top of the sound of your guitar. The same way that distortion might be or an effect might be. Now, with palm muting, basically, you've heard this on rock songs, you've heard this on acoustic songs, you've heard it on a lot of different types of songs, and I'll demonstrate that in just a second. But what I wanted to show you was how to create the perfect palm mute. I was coaching a Play From Day One VIP member, John, on a song that you're probably familiar with, Summer of '69, and I was helping him to smooth that out with the palm muting, because the technique of palm muting is not only going to make it sound better, but it's also going to make it feel better when you're playing it. And then also I was working with another Play From Day One member, Jim, who was working on Metallica, Fade to Black. There's a section in the middle of Fade to Black that has some palm muting in it, and well, actually there's a few sections, but there's one specifically that I'll show you. And Summer of '69 has palm muted chords, and Fade to Black has palm muted, at least the part I'm talking about, has palm muted single notes. And you're going to want to know how to do both so that you're prepared for any situation. Okay? Now I'm curious inside the comments if you've ever tried palm muting, if it feels comfortable, if it feels awkward, and if you don't know what palm muting is, basically it's this. Palm muting sounds like this, whereas the guitar sounds like this normally. But if I palm mute, it sounds like that, where it's basically like a almost like a filter. It's almost like if I'm talking and then I'm going, I'm muffling my sound, and I'm creating a new sound. So with palm muting, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on two main areas of the hand, and we're going to focus on three main areas of the guitar. First, I'll show you the hand. With palm muting, we have what I call the karate chop, which is this part over here. You know, if you can grab this part of your hand, it's like the meat of the side of the palm. This karate chop, as if you were gonna, karate chop right through a 2x4 or something like that. Don't try that at home. So here we have the meat of the hand, okay? And basically with that, we make sure that that soft part of the side of our hand, that part of the hand will go on the guitar. I'll show you exactly where, but I just want to show you first that it's this part of the hand, the side of the hand, okay? That's one part for a palm mute. That's one option that we have. Another option that we have is the ball of the wrist, okay? So the ball of the wrist, you could feel a round bone right over here on the wrist, and that's another spot that we could palm mute. Now, the karate chop, I often use that part for chords, and I often use the ball for single notes. It doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case, but that's typically the way that it is. Because the karate chop, that meat, it could cover a lot more real estate on the guitar, and the ball covers less. But sometimes it means that it's just going to come through some experimentation. But typically, as a rough guideline, the karate chop is for chords, and the ball of the wrist is for single notes. Now I'm going to show you on the guitar. And by the way, let me know in the comments if that makes sense. I think that the software I'm using, there might be some issues with the comments, for me to see the comments, but I'm going to just load something up really quick over here just to see if, just in case I miss any comments. And let me know in the chat box if you are, if that makes sense with palm muting. So far, so good. Here we go. Let me just go down here. Yes, I see. Okay, so Greg is here, and Basher, awesome. Welcome, guys. So basically, again, we have the karate chop and we have the ball of the wrist. But where do we put that? And that's the part that I find most guitar players get confused about. It's where do I put that palm mute? And I use the acoustic on purpose today because it's very clear where we put it. See the white part here? This is the bridge of the guitar. Okay, this part, this line, is the bridge of the guitar. And what we aim to do is we aim to have flesh on the part right after the bridge, where the bridge and the strings intersect, where the strings and the bridge connect, okay? And that's right over here. If I put the pick right up against the bridge, it creates this really, really tinny sound. Okay, with a thin pick, it's a little bit harder to do that there. But basically, this part right here, right as they connect, okay? Not right on the bridge, not before the bridge, but right as it connects. And so the foolproof way to find the perfect palm mute is to have the karate chop, okay? Now, if you put the karate chop, now it doesn't have to be straight like this. The karate chop is actually a little bit more of on an angle. So when you're playing, because if you see the wrist, the angle of the wrist and the arm, we're not gonna be like this. We definitely don't want to have this curvature here, but we have this just laying across, almost as if we're karate chopping like this on an angle, okay? And obviously, if we need to do lower strings, then it would be like this. We bring hinge the elbow. But if we start off, let's just say on the 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, around there. Just making sure, you can even see that, let me see if I can get a better angle here. When I push, you can see that the sort of the meat of the hand will sort of smush over there, okay? Now, technically speaking, it smushes. Now, excuse me, I feel a little frog in my throat. It must be like allergies or something. Anyway, so here we have the karate chop right there. Now, you're going to know if you're doing this right because the karate chop is going to sound, it's going to make it sound like chun, 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 okay? And you're going to have a little bit of that chun, chun, chun sound to it. If it doesn't, like for example, if it sounds like this, just the same way as if you didn't have any karate chop on the guitar, then you don't have enough palm mute, okay? You're in the wrong spot. You're too far back from where you need to be. So where you probably are landing is before the bridge, okay? Or even on the bridge. And if you're too far ahead, you're not going to get any note, okay? Too far back is all note ringing perfectly clear. Too far forward, it's a brick. It's basically, there's no note at all, and that's too far forward. So what we want to do is, this is the foolproof way to find the spot for the karate chop, is we karate chop, okay? You don't do it hard or anything like that, but you put the karate chop down, and what you're looking for is this. You go steady, and as you go steady, you inch, I'm not going to play right now, you inch closer and closer to the sound hole, okay? Again, if you go too far, it's going to sound like that, and if you're too far back, it's going to sound like this. But if you keep it going, as you're inching closer, oh, do you hear that chun, chun, chun? So I'll do it again, watch. Do you hear that? So now if I keep my hand here, and you can see the karate chop, I'm not pushing down or anything, I'm just, basically it's like smushed, okay? And if I play a power chord, let's say, now I have the perfect palm mute, okay? Because I have it, it's not too far back, it's not too far forward. Because that would sound like this, or like this, okay? So what we want to do is make sure, and we don't even have to have any chord or anything like that on the fretboard. We just have this part right here because this is what we're focusing on. It's too far back, so we put the karate chop down. We play steady downs slowly inch up until we hear that chun 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 sound. Okay, and then you can put chords behind it. Okay, now this here, this karate chop, soon what'll happen is you will just remember where that goes because you'll feel that spot, this sort of intersection there, you'll feel where the bridge is, and you know you just have to go just a little bit ahead of the bridge. Okay, again, we don't want to be too far ahead because then we won't get enough palm mute, okay? So again, we go until we hear that chun chun chun, then we're good to go, okay? That's the karate chop palm mute. Now, other than that, we have the ball of the wrist. So the ball right here, this could also palm mute. If we put that in, we slot that in. Typically, I would slot that in on either the 6th string, 5th string, or 4th string, sometimes in between the strings. And on the Metallica song, Fade to Black, we have this thing. Actually, I'm going to use a thicker pick. We have this thing here. Okay. So that is not the karate chop because the angle of that would be wouldn't feel right. So what that is actually the ball of the wrist being. I have that right over here where it's on the in between the 4th and 5th string. I have the ball of my wrist. Now it doesn't have to be exact. It could basically be sitting on the 5th string, but the point is that I'm pivoting on the ball of the wrist, whereas with the chord I was on the karate chop. Now it's the same principle. You can go like this. You can have the ball of the wrist on the guitar here, and you can play one note, move forward until you get that chun chun chun. If I go too far ahead, I don't have enough note, so I'm too far ahead. But again, I go behind the bridge, I just inch up bit by bit by bit by bit, and there I have my perfect palm mute. Okay, so that part there, does that make sense, guys? That with 3 locations, okay, we have before the bridge, we have on the bridge, and we have ahead of the bridge, okay? There's before, on, and then ahead. And what we're trying to do is just go a little bit ahead of the bridge, just a little bit. So we go in that intersection between the bridge and the strings. Okay, that is where the perfect palm mute takes place, and we have 2 ways to play a palm mute: the karate chop and the ball of the wrist. Okay, now the final thing that I'm going to say about palm muting is now there's the motion of the wrist, and I find this is one of the most misunderstood things for palm muting. With palm muting, what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of a turnkey approach. Okay, now it doesn't mean that we're going to be playing like this, where we're turning like that. Okay, but we have this turnkey approach, and we have a handshake approach. Okay, so as if you're shaking someone's hand, or you're turning a key. When you're playing the palm mute, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that karate chop on there, and I'm going to try a handshake approach. And if you tried this, you would feel how awkward it was because it just doesn't feel right. Okay, if you're doing this, okay, we definitely don't want to be doing this with our arm. Okay, because it's going to probably burn our hand here, and it's also probably going to it's just not going to feel right, and you're not going to be able to go as fast. It's just not going to be good. But with the handshake, that's definitely not the motion we want to do from here. What we're going to do, see, even though this looks like up and down, the motion is a slight, let me see if I can get the angle here. The motion, when I'm playing, is a slight turn of the wrist. I'm going like this. See, this is the motion for palm muting, and see I'm going faster. So it's if I did a bigger motion, it would be this muscle movement, but it's going to be, if I start from the karate chop and I just turn my wrist a little bit. See, this motion is like turning the key of an ignition, okay? So here, that's the move. We basically, when I'm playing, even though it looks like it's up and down, it's not up and down. It's basically turning just a little bit, and that, because that motion is going to allow for some speed. So even though it looks like it's up and down, we're not going to go up and down like a handshake. We're not going to go up and down with the arm like this. What we're going to do instead is this slight turning motion and then reset back. So we have the karate chop down, or the ball of the wrist down, and we're going to do a slight turning motion. It's smaller than you might think, okay? And then we just turn just a little bit. So it's not going to be like this, where you turn like that. We're not going to go like that. What you're going to do is you're just going to stay from the beginning point, and you're going to, let me go like this, and you're going to play the palm mute like that. Okay, but if we took this off of the guitar, the only reason why it looks like that is because the strings are blocking it. But if I take that motion and I do it without anything, you can see that actually it's a little turn of the wrist, just a slight little turn, okay? A slight little turn. So, does that make sense, guys? That the palm mute, we need to pay attention to three areas. There's the location on the hand, there's the location on the guitar, and then there's the movement of the hand, or I should say the wrist. Okay, the location of the hand is either going to be the karate chop, the side here, the meat. It's going to be the ball of the wrist. It's either one. The location of the guitar, you're either going to be before the bridge, on the bridge, or after the bridge. And what we're aiming to do is go right in front of the bridge. Okay, and I showed you how to inch up and find that sort of chunt, chunt, chunt sound. And then with the movement that we play, we're going to use a slight little turn, not a handshake movement, slight little turn. Okay, we do that slight little turn, and you'll get the perfect palm mute every single time when you follow all three of those principles. Okay, so let me know in the chat box below if that makes sense, if that's helpful, if you have any questions regarding palm muting, if there's any song that you're working on that has palm muting in it. And I'll be sure to, I look at every single comment, and I either answer them on the spot there or inside the next video. All right, so once again, if you want to work with me personally to show you how to play the songs that you want to play but faster, and know how to play songs on demand and learn them on demand, then definitely check out playfromdayone.com, add your name to the waiting list, fill out a few quick questions about your guitar playing, and then when a spot becomes available for you, I'll reach out to you and we can discuss your options. All right, so that is all for today, and that's pretty much it. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.